Hi guys, welcome to the Nantum Tech. My name is Ricky. Today we're going to be testing Oblivion, running on the RX580 at 1080p of course. We're going to be running the system on the Ryzen 5 3500X, paired with 16 gigabytes of RAM, running on dual channel with DOCP profiled 1 enabled, which brings the memory speed up to 3200 megatransfers per second. And I'm pairing it with a Radeon RX580. This is the 8 gigabyte model of the card, is an XFX version of the card. Here are the specs of the GPU on Tech Power Up's GPU Z, in case you guys want to check that out. We're running on Adrenaline software version 25.5.1. Moving along, today we're going to be testing Oblivion. This is the remastered version, and this is the Xbox Game Pass version. Alright, let's get started. I'm going to try my best to stay close to the test area of the 1070, just to kind of give you guys an idea of difference in performance between the two. So if you guys want to check out the test on the GTX 1070, I'll have a link somewhere on the screen. Alright, so we're back over here outside of the Imperial City. Oh, by the way, I've been playing the game, guys. If you guys haven't played Oblivion and you're considering it because it's the remastered version, you should totally play it. It's 100% worth it. Alright, very good. So we're sitting here outside of the stables next to the Imperial City. So we're gonna walk down here, and I did notice in the previous test that rain doesn't seem to affect the performance that much. But let's go ahead. I'm not actually playing with this character, by the way. He's gonna be my benchmark character. Probably do a playthrough with him at some point. Okay, we're gonna start off the run under the low preset. So we're gonna start off with no upscaling at all. I actually never did upscaling on the 1070 video, so I might do that in the future. Alright, very good. So we're gonna start with upscaling off under the low preset. Alright, very good. Sitting here at 32. Yeah, the CPU is not having that much of a hard time. Sitting at 47, 45, or 28 FPS. So yeah, it doesn't like the low settings. Alright, let's go into the city, because I remember that there was a pretty good difference between being outside and going into the city. Okay, so now we're inside the Imperial City. Goes up to 33. Alright, let's go ahead and start recording the FPS for a quick run inside the city and then going out. It goes down to 0. Okay, so we're gonna... Alright, so I'm gonna avoid cutscenes. So let's see, this will be an outside run on low settings. Maybe include some of this bridge. Alright, so I'm going to use the sewers under the Imperial City to kind of replicate like a dungeon. I don't want to spoil the dungeons for you guys, but... Alright, let's see if we can find a rat to kill. Nice. Alright, very good. Yeah, let's just get out of the source. So that kind of gives us an idea of what dungeon would look like when you're running the game. So those are the three kind of settings that you're gonna mostly see in Oblivion: the countryside, cities, and dungeons. And when you break down the game like that, it sounds very simple, but it's not. Alright, so let's go ahead and switch over to the medium settings. See, I think that's about as high as I'm gonna go. I don't think the system can actually handle much more than that. And then we'll do some frame generation. Okay, very good. So these are the medium settings with no upscaling outside. A little outside run up to the bridge. Looking at the horizon.
Hello there.
Alright, so we're gonna go and try to fight some monsters inside the sewers. Oh, speaking of monsters, where are you? Yeah, that should be enough for the sewers. So we're gonna start off with FSR on native AA, and we're only gonna test outside and see how much it goes up to. Very good. So starting on native AA, 22, 21, quality, balanced. I feel like there used to be a lot more ghosting when the game sometimes you get the little fake sword that pops around. We're at 32, 35, 34, holding steady. But then that's when you start getting more of the ghosting of the ghost sword that appears. And everything just, I don't know, if you look at the sword, you can see it appearing. Oh no, wait. Well, it's nice to see that you're able to use FSR on the RX580. And there's also frame generation, so I want to see what that does. Alright, let's go ahead and play some frame generation. This is on balance FSR. Ooh, I think the game's gonna crash. I think I pushed it too hard. I don't know if it was frame generation the one that did that. And it crashed. Okay, so let's go back and try to see if we can enable frame generation again. And otherwise, I mean, we can determine that frame generation actually makes the RX580 crash. So that's something to keep in mind. Alright, let's try frame generation and see what that does. If it crashes again, we can determine that the RX580 is the problem. Here we go. That's on frame generation on the RX580. And it makes an even way more stuttery. Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, don't enable frame generation. And it's gonna crash. It crashed. Yep. Okay, we need to disable frame generation because this is making the game crash. There we go. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, no, you can't. Don't enable frame generation on the RX580. It's gonna make your game crash so bad. Let's try XeSS. Let's go back outside. See how XeSS on balance performs and play around with XeSS and see what it can do. Ooh, XeSS is struggling. 23, 24. No, the card is struggling with XeSS. Some nice cinematic experience in medium. Definitely better to keep it off. Let's go ahead and try to see if we can change that. Otherwise, we can assume that it's just not even worth it to try XeSS. Okay, let's try to go to ultra performance. Yeah, no, the system is struggling with XeSS. 26, 27, climbing up to 30. Very close to 30, but no, maybe 27. Let's try TAA. I need to move this. Check out where the sword is. That's the kind of ghosting that you keep seeing with some of these upscalers. Let's see. What else we got? TSR. 28. Alright, let's see what auto detect does to the system. Brings it down to low settings with FSR balanced. 37. Much better. There we go. Low settings seems to be the best with something like this. But what if we go down to 720p? And the overlay looks extra weird, but 45. I wanted to see how it felt like to play the game like this. And 720p is actually not terrible, but it does make a noticeable difference in the way the game looks. Even at 35 FPS, this is the kind of game you can play a game like this at 35 FPS. I beat Starfield at 24 FPS, so this is fine. 37, 35, that's about the best that we're going to be able to do. Seems like the low settings is going to be about the best that you're going to be able to do. Alright, so with that in mind, that concludes the test of the RX580 with Oblivion. I hope that helps you guys out in case you guys are interested in getting an RX580. This would kind of be the best case scenario in a sense because this is the XFX version. A lot of the RX580s are out. Typically the board partners that make RX580s, the ones that are not like the name brand ones, are usually a little bit slower. At least as far as the benchmarks that I've seen, that's what I base myself on. But at least the RX580s that I've tested have all been pretty consistent in terms of performance. So it's still a decently capable card, and if you are able to get about a reasonable price in your country, I think it's still worth it to use it. I hope you guys find this useful. Thank you so much for watching, and have a nice day. Bye bye for now.